We started really, really fast. Looked up, and it was 28-7 in the first quarter, and then I think we ended the half 42-7. That football team is doing some work behind the scenes to try to get themselves where they want to be. I know Coach Harrison, I have them getting ready to go, so I thought it was fortunate for us to be able to start as fast as we did with them averaging 40-some-odd points the prior two games before we played. And so defensively, we held them to 7 over the day. We gave up a block kick for a touchdown, where defensively they wasn't on the field. But I thought it was a good night. I didn't like our third quarter. We started substituting guys, and the penalties went up, and you could tell we played guys that hadn't played before. So we got to get that cleaned up as a program. Only scoring 7 points in the second half. I think we negated 2 opportunities to score touchdowns just because of penalties and things of that nature. So we took a look at the film. We got that corrected. Hopefully we'll keep coaching that throughout the week. But overall, I was glad the Mavericks won.
And then looking ahead to this weekend, this game screams trap game.
Yeah.
How do you keep the guys focused on the task at hand for this week?
Yeah, the good thing about us is we always tell our guys, no matter who we're playing, this is and always will be about us. Again, we're facing another program that on the surface they look like they're struggling. I think they're 0-6. But when you watch film, they do have good players. And so sometimes the record does not reflect the player that they have. And they got a receiver. They've got a quarterback. They've got a Sam linebacker that's all over the place. I think the kid's got like 75 tackles. So we've got some folks that we got to identify where they are. But most of all, we've got to see how good we are. And I told our team the other day, we won't know how good we are until December, January. So week to week, we just have to focus on us and get ourselves ready to go and try to play the best game the Mesa Mavericks can play.
Questions?
So it looks like with Adams and Fort Lewis especially, new coaches coming in, you had last year with a limited amount of games and practices to where you could kind of get used to things and get your program started.
Yeah.
And it looks like that's them this year.
Yeah,
Figure things out.
It is. Darius and I got the job within months of each other. And so, we got a chance to play last fall. He didn't get a chance to play until this spring. And so where we were recruiting, he was playing. And I think you can see those differences. Then quite honestly, Patty, Colorado Mesa is just a little different institution than those 2 other schools. I mean, it is what it is. You can't hide that. You look at our campus and look at the things we've been able to do, the vision that our former president had, and then our current president had. It's just different. And so, fortunately, I've got a really good job, and we were able to be successful. And so I do think those guys are coming along, though. I think they're going to put their expertise in the programs, especially Darius. Darius won a national championship at Villanova. It's not like he doesn't know how to win, you know what I mean? So they got a little ways to go, but certainly I think I'm fortunate that I'm at Colorado Mesa University, where athletics is very, very important.
Coach, last week one of the themes that you talked about was putting away teams early. You guys clearly did that this week. Are you satisfied with that?
To a point. It's the fastest that we've started a game since I've been here. We hadn't been up 35 on anybody that I can remember. And I thought we acted like it. I thought we didn't know what to do. Normally when we go into halftime, we've been in some fights lately, or the game hadn't been that far out of hand. And so it was a great teaching moment for us as a program to learn this is what you do. There's no way to really practice I'm up 35 to 7, 42 to 7. So we got an opportunity to point those things out, and these guys in meetings, we talked about that on Sunday. What do you do when you're up by 35 at halftime? Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're up. You continue to execute at a high level. You continue to put teams where they're supposed to be when you have them where they're supposed to be. And I think that lesson will help us when we're in those dog fights. The mentality cannot change. If it's 0-0 or 42 to 7, it can't change. And so I thought it was a great learning lesson for our guys.
You had mentioned last week too, you weren't sure what the identity of this team was. Obviously, you kind of already addressed that. You wanted to see more, but do you feel like you have a decent idea of what this team is all about now?
No, do you? I mean, I tell these guys all the time, I I don't know, and I don't think we'll know until the end of the year. Here's what we know: if we play disciplined, obedient, and with a lot of grit, we're gonna always have a chance. We don't put the period on the end of the G when we label things dog, because the grit has to be unlimited. It can't stop. And so if we do that, we feel like we'll be very, very successful. And at the end of the year, we'll judge what kind of football program we are. We don't look at polls. Obviously, they're wrong half the time, preseason polls, current polls. The poll happens at the end of the year when everybody finds out who they are at the end of the year. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to continue to play our style of football as much as we can until the end.
Before we get to defense, can I ask about Holmes and his performance that he had playing running back for you guys? That was pretty special.
You saw what he did. It's lights out. I think you guys miss it because we see it in practice. Like, that kid can play, and he's played multiple positions for us, and so we need him at running back. He stayed all week at running back, and I thought he had a really good performance. But he's been doing that for a long time. He returned kicks. He caught balls out the backfield. He had a video game night. Like, he would be the all-purpose guy on the new NCAA 22 day when they put it out, whenever that is. But he had a good night, and so. But he works extremely hard behind the scenes, like a lot of these guys. So it didn't surprise us as much as it surprised everybody else.
So you guys think, are we going to leave him there, or are we going to make him that utility guy?
No, Patty.
It's hard when somebody comes, Avion comes back. He's had great years, great games. When he's healthy, it's like, now what?
Yeah, I think Coach Brown, Coach Barella, Coach Newcomer, Coach Hadley, the offensive staff in general, I think they do a really good job of being creative. The one thing I've been impressed with our offense this year versus last year was we're more creative. You saw us come out in the three-back I offense. We call it the Mesa I. And then we got into it on the goal line. We've been able to do some things formationally and use personnel that we have to move the football. I think that's coaching. And so the job that those guys are doing, I think is excellent. And I look forward to them continuing to be creative.
See, obviously, defense, you come in here and you come into quite possibly the most stacked position on the team, but just the rotation that you guys have in the secondary and just kind of helps everybody stay fresh and hungry, it looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. What Coach Brendan Anderson and Coach Black for the safeties really preaches to us is communication, comms. Great comms on the field, make sure we're getting the calls out, and whenever we need to do substitute guys in and out of the game, that we do a great job and make sure we are all on the same page, because how you do all things is how you do small things, how you do all things is like Coach said. And we gotta bring that mentality, especially with the dog mentality that he says all the time and he preaches to us. Play the entire game, 60 minutes of dog ball, and to do that, you got to be on the same page with all you guys in your unit.
Was it easy fitting into this program?
Well,
a lot of guys in your shoes.
Absolutely. I mean, coming here from Pittsburgh State University and playing there my entire career before coming here as a grad student, I just came here with the mentality to give this team and this defense the support that I can do, whether it's as a scout guy or as a guy that's going to get some reps on the field. I didn't come in here with the mentality to win a position or go out there and beat out everybody. I came in with the humble mentality, and I just want to do my part, because it's not about me at the end of the day. It's about us, and it's always about us. It's going to be about us until the end, until we go into December, into the playoffs, and we just have to keep on doing that, have that mentality, and and humble ourselves, because going into this week, we know our competition, and we know how they can play and what the record says, but we have to play up to Mesa Maverick ball, and that's how we're going to go and do it.
So you kind of like the scenery here a little bit better than from Wichita to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, my neck's cricking up a little bit every time I'm on the drive here and there, especially on our road trips. I usually fall asleep on the road trips, but I'm out there looking out the window, because being in the Rockies is kind of crazy coming from the flatlands.
Can I ask you to take us on the field after that second drive from the Grizzlies when they scored that touchdown? And they were moving the ball pretty well, and then you guys come back and say that's enough of that.
Yeah, I mean, we pulled each other on the sideline, came together as a group, and we just said, "Hey, that play's over. They're not going to score another. They're not score another touchdown. They're not going to get another drive going like that again." And we just made the right corrections and made sure our alignments and our assignments were right and correct the entire rest of the game. And I think the performance showed that itself for sure.
Creighton caught that ball, by the way.
I was just going to say, was that an interception?
Creighton caught that ball. Go ahead.
I will say, I mean, the ball was right there, and I kind of seen it up hanging up in the air, and I put that left hand underneath the ball, and I secured it with my right. So I do wish that we could have
replay. We need replay in Division II.
You got to keep on playing the game, how it's going to be called, and whether offense was able to go on the field or not. I knew I caught the ball. I just had to get up and play the next play.
Well, that's really kind of what this defense has done. I mean, okay, we had a bad series. Forget about it. We'll stop this series. And it's really, other than, you know, a couple of quarters, you've done that all year.
Absolutely. I mean, being led by Damari Mitchell and Remington Green, those two guys right there, 2 and 7, those are great leaders, great role models. And I can name a handful of guys on the defense. And it's not just us. The offense is going out there doing the job too, but the defense does make a statement every time we step on the field. Hey, this offense is not better than us. And that's kind of what we talk about all week. Like, hey, we need to go hard every single play on these scouts, every single time we're a team, so we can make our offense better, and that way we can keep our tools sharpened up every time we step on that field on game day. That's what we have to do, and that's what they preach. Just bring it every single play and every single drive, and don't stop until 60 minutes is up on Saturday.
Sounds like he listens in meetings, doesn't he, man? I'm pretty impressed here.
Coach said that, you know, last week was a learning experience, how to play from a big lead. What did happen second half? Was it just like we can take a little bit of a breath, or?
I think it could have been part of that. You know, we knew going into the week, like, this could happen. We could get up pretty big in the first half if all of us do our job. We do our assignment, do our alignment, and run to the ball every time, especially on defense, and then go score the ball every time on offense. But I think we did maybe just lose a train of thought, which can happen in a game like that. But now we know moving forward, especially coming back on Sunday and having a meeting we did, being able to come together and regroup and say, hey, we are better than that. We're a better program than that. We're building it to a program that should be going into the months of November, December. We need to know how to handle 60 minutes of a game, especially when it gets to those months, because there's going to be no plays off, there's going to be no drives off, and you got to play all 60 minutes of a game on Saturday, especially in the playoff season. So we do have some games left that we got to get on the left side of the column, and we're going to make that happen. But it's one game at a time, and making sure that we correct ourselves for the next game and the next drive every single time.
I'm going to stop showing up. I'm going to stop. These guys do. Yeah, they do not need me anymore. No, I'll tell you this too, Patty. When you come out of a dogfight like we were in the week before, and then you get up real high when you were so used to being in a dogfight, you can kind of lose your train of thought, like you said. Again, that goes back to us. We got to do a better job as coaches of putting them in that situation. And that way, it was a learning lesson for me. First time as a head coach, I've been up that much at halftime. I had to retrain myself into not going into, okay, let's pull everybody out, that type of deal. We wanted to get some guys some reps, but there's a time in the game for that. And we got to make sure we know when that time is.
To kind of go along at all with you mentioned in the past that you guys could play anybody, or you're really playing yourself every week. Yep. Does that kind of go along with it? It does.
It does. Our games that we play, when you really look at them, it's us that either gives up the touchdown, nothing that they've done that we haven't seen, or it's us that stalls the drive out on offense, or it's us that has the mishap on special teams. We can compete athletically with anybody. I really believe that. We have to compete with our mindset and our execution. That's what gets us in trouble. And so we can't have penalties. We got to be able to eliminate those. Beating yourself is kind of what we're trying to stop. You know what I mean? When you're up big, it doesn't look like you're beating yourself when you make those mistakes. But when you're in another tight one, you'll end up beating yourself. So we have to compete against ourselves. That starts on a day like today, a Tuesday, when we go out and just start with mav ball. We got to be able to get up and go. Whatever that situation is for the day, we got to go. And so that'll be the challenge. All right, you ready?
you the theme song of your life.
Coach, you want to go first?
No, you go first.
The theme song of my life. Let's go. Smooth Criminal, Michael Jackson. I'm a Michael Jackson fan to heart, all day, every day.
All right. So the theme song of my life would be "Last $2" by Johnny Taylor, because I feel like every day I'm on my last $2.